I guess to go off that, I mean, you're also learning the guys for the first time. How hard is it not to just be a prisoner of the moment if one guy has one really good practice and you're just trying to evaluate everybody at the same time?
Yeah, it is difficult. That's where Remy comes in to help as well. But it is difficult. But, you know, the greatest thing about us practicing one day and off the next, and you have plenty of time to watch every rep of Indy, to watch every rep of special teams, to team and all that. And so you get an idea, and then you get body language ideas, you know, where they're at. You get, you know, like Omega Blake, Scott was talking to him about, can you play a 9-play drive and be our gunner? And he said, Coach, I love to play football. Do not take me off the punt team, you know, those type things. So you start learning a little bit more about guys who have the love for football, because in all honesty, you can be as talented as you want, and you don't love the game, you're not going to be a very good player.
You're obviously not going to have like 5-6 guys catch 30 passes, but like somebody's going to catch a lot out of that group. Any idea who that guy might be, who, when it's third down, you got to go to him?
Well, I've been high on Sharp ever since he came here. And then you have those guys that we spoke about, Blake and CC and Shanks. A guy who's not catching a lot of balls but is doing a lot of good things is Rohan Jones. He caught one the other day in our kill the clock 2-minute drill. But I anticipate him catching a lot of balls. He's very, very talented. So those guys would be, you have CJ added into that mix. Cross Johnson's done some nice things, but I think probably those first 4 that I talked about, I'm thinking that they're going to – somebody will emerge. It's just like Andrew Armstrong. You didn't know what you really had. You didn't know. He had a pretty good, junior year. We thought he was going to be a good player. In the time that his junior year and his senior year, to me, he mentally changed. I mean, he was a lot, because he got hell knocked out of him a few games, got back up, came back in as soon as he was cleared, and had a 1,000-yard season. We're looking for somebody like that, and I believe they're on our team. We just, we'll have to find them on a Saturday afternoon.
Seems like you've had some guys banged up at cornerback, obviously. Jordan Young, I guess that in practice.
Yeah.
You mentioned Kenai. How difficult is it to, I guess, try to establish who your starters are at those 2 spots? And Selman looks like he's been getting quite a number of reps with the one.
He has, and he's gotten better, I mean, I look a little bit at like Trey at that position, because you have that, Davila, you have Jaden Allen, Jaheim Singletary's getting better because he's playing with a little bit more confidence. I really like what Nick Perry's doing with that group. And then you look at who's in the portal now. Well, Cam Ball's in the portal, which Danny Saleh, I'm not saying about he's in the portal. I'm saying, for me, we're getting him back. We know what we have. Kobe Branham, we're getting him back. Davila, Kenai and Oki were kind of that way, where it's kind of like a Christmas present and open it up and see if you got a pair of socks or a tuxedo, And so, because, I was a little heavy when I was younger, and I'd get a lot of socks and underwear. I wouldn't get a whole lot of jeans and stuff because, Husky jeans weren't just local and all that. But I have no idea what that did to the question, but I think I've already answered it.
Sorry, just one more on Cofield. I guess you talked a lot about how he can help bringing in new players and helping you navigate the portal. I'm just wondering how you envision his relationship with retention and, helping with players that are already here.
I think it has a lot to do. Guys, a lot of times if you're married, you need a little buffer. You go talk to your son and say, hey, go to mom and see what this idea would be. I think you need a buffer. And to me, he's that guy, because since we've been here, I kind of been the good guy and the bad guy. Good if you come in and you want X amount of money, and all that, and we feel like that's the worth and all. That's going to be they're going to go to him, and so I think that buffering system is going to help me tremendously. And then you get it's personal, you know. Guys are going to leave. You understand why, but then it becomes personal. We need to take that part out of the game. To me, I'm all for these guys making money, all for it. But there are some that leave that it hurts you, you know. So I think having him, I think that will help us, and he can be a buffering. And if you go in and you tell him you want $400,000, and I was planning on giving you $4, then there's a buffer in there where we can kind of figure out between the two of us, along with the coaches, you know, what kind of money that we have in the budget.
Has that been emotionally draining for you, that, you know, you have to, on the field, kind of try and extract the most out of them, and then have to, you know, have those bad guy conversations with them, you know, off the field?
Yeah, I never really, to be honest with you, I've never really thought, until I see it, I never really thought, well, he's going to go in the portal, you know, on the field, you know, coaching them and all that, until you know, he doesn't quit, but he kind of quits, you know what I mean? You can tell. We're going to coach them. You guys, I hope, haven't seen any difference in coaching than what we had before, and our job is to get them the best they possibly can be for them, and then that'll make the team better. But when money comes into probably any situation, it's hard for greed and jealousy and all that not to come in. So balancing that, I think that will help us a little bit, having Remy help us balance some of that as well.
Sam, I feel like we've asked a lot about wide receivers today, but I've got a couple more. You've got a guy in Jordan Anthony who's doing track right now. Where does he fit in? 'Cause like he's kind of that same mold as Shanks and Sharp.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we'll go down that path as it moves on. I think he's doing so well in track, and that we'll kind of cross that bridge when it comes. I know they're awful proud of him for what it should be for what he's done in track. So I think we'll figure out whether there's a football in his future or not. Just probably depend on a lot of things, but one of them I'm certain would be how well he does in track, and I think he was the fastest guy in the 60 in the country. So we'll cross that a little bit later. I'm probably not ready to answer that yet.
And then also, you've talked a lot about, you know, wanting to go in the portal for some defensive help and everything, but we've seen some offers go out to wide receivers. I know you can't talk about them specifically, but is that kind of an indication that you also are still looking for some help at the wide receiver spot?
Well, where'd you see the offers?
Well, just on social media and everything. I don't know if maybe they're not legit, or is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, they would have had to come through my office. But defensively is what we're really looking for. And, you know, you have a limited budget, and we need some help number-wise as well. We need some help in the secondary, and we need some help on the defensive line a little bit, and so that would be the top priority. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't take a wide receiver. That just means that that's not priority one right now.
You say secondary, you mean primarily safety?
Trey, I'd like to get some safeties. Yeah, I'd like to get some safeties, and you know, we're still in a waiting deal to see where Kanai is as well, you know, at corner. And but if you look at our board, our numbers in the secondary aren't very good. And so they're not horrendous or anything like that, but we need to add 3 to 4 back there minimum. Depends on how far the money stretches.
You've gotten some good like linebackers over the years that, like I'm thinking Greer, Swiss Army Knife, you know, guys that maybe from a lower classification that maybe had something to prove. Any thoughts about adding another veteran linebacker? Because you do get pretty young after that first group.
Yes, absolutely. Man, I'd like to add a whole bunch of guys, you know, just how far the money will go. But yes, veteran, a guy that's played somewhere that, you know, like Stephen Dix was kind of that way, you know. He wasn't 1AA or whatever, but If we could find a guy like that had played a lot of ball, to be that, wherever he may fall, but be to a guy that we could count on out there, we sure would.
You mentioned Dan Zahili a minute ago.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's dropped 50 pounds. It's not hard to do.
Yeah.
That's not easy to do.
Right.
Which probably speaks a lot to the dedication. What are your thoughts on just his role this year? I think he played in like 7 games. But
Yeah,
pretty
I
sparingly.
think he'll be in the rotation, whether he runs out there with the ones or not. But you know how we rotate our line. I think he's really good. I mean, his quickness has changed, his motor. He runs side to side to the football, which losing the weight allowed him to do that as well. But I'm just really, really high on him right now. I just think and I don't think it's just because I didn't know what I thought. You know what I mean? I didn't know, man, can he help us? And I don't think it's that, because there was times that I thought that as well. But now it's gone from, can he help us? I think he can help us to win games with this guy out there, because he's getting a lot of penetration and he runs. He loves to play. So it's changed a little bit. So, yes, I see him definitely in the rotation, if not running out there with the ones.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Okay, guys.